Hi, I'm Bob Peters, host of Central Florida Salute YouTube. The other day I was at the movie theater in the Villages. I did an interview with the producer and the lead actor, which will follow this. I'd like to thank Marie and Catherine from Villagers for Veterans for the invite to view this show. This movie is tremendous. Coming to a theater near you, and I hope you enjoy it. Please watch the video. It's moving. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Central Florida Salute YouTube. I am in the Villages at a theater getting ready for a new movie coming out. That one, Lonesome Soldier. And you are the director, producer?
Producer, writer, and one of the actors in the film. That's correct.
Oh, good. And your name is Alex?
Alexander Randazzo.
Okay, nice to meet you. I'm Bob Peters, host of Central Florida Salute. And I heard about this, but I don't know much about your movie. I'd like to know how you got involved in this. I understand you told me you're not a veteran, but what brought this about with you?
Absolutely. So I grew up for the first 10 years of my life around the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. My father was a West Point graduate and Army Ranger, and then became the head hockey coach at the Naval Academy. And so I've grown up around the military my entire life. Both my grandfathers served, as well as my father, and my brothers at the Air Force Academy as well. And I was at acting school, film school in New York City when I was 18 years old, and I received a text message. I didn't have Facebook at the time, but it was a screenshot of a Facebook post of a mother down in Tennessee saying that her son had an incredible story as a veteran who fought and won against PTSD, and that she was looking to make a movie about it. And being a young kid, not knowing much about the world, I thought, how hard could it be to make a movie? And so I dropped out of college.
It isn't easy, is it?
I mean, it only took 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
But I moved to Los Angeles with a script and a dream. And 7+ years later, here we are with the film in over 100 theaters across the country.
Now, this veteran fought this war for PTSD. You're saying that's what this whole basis of the movie is. What branch of service was he in, and when was he in?
He was a National Guardsman. He joined, in real life, he joined up after 9/11. In the film, due to condensing time in Hollywood, he joins in 2005, and the film takes place over 5 years, from 2005 to 2010. In real life, the story took place between the year 2000 and 2012, so we had to condense it for Hollywood movies.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yeah.
But he was a National Guardsman, and he joined up before it was mandatory that the National Guard, during the War on Terror, that they would be deployed. He actually joined up not expecting to be deployed and promising his newlywed bride, who was expecting a child, that he would not be deployed.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything changed.
Okay, so you got deployed, and how many tours did he do? 1, 2?
In real life, he did 2. In the film, it's condensed into 1.
Uh-huh.
He did, in fact, I believe it was 2006, and don't quote me on that, but there was an extension for all actively deployed servicemen and women during the War on Terror, and his deployment went from 12 months to 18 months while he was deployed. In real life, he was deployed twice. In the film, we only show 1.
Okay, and what, you got a call, so were you making movies at the time, or is that,
So I was at film school at the time, and I made a small low budget film based on a best-selling book when I was 12. I read a book and I found on page 98 of Google the author's phone number and called him and raised a couple grand and then sold it for more than I made it for. And so I had already made...
That's the object.
Exactly. And so I had already made a film as a young adult, teenager. And so I thought, well, how hard could it be on, in the big leagues? And while it was extremely difficult, my team, I've been blessed with such an incredible team of veterans, Hollywood veterans, military veterans, and just hardworking good people who have helped bring this story into a reality.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it because, I've been doing a YouTube channel, started on a local TV station. I've been doing it for 14 years. I'm going into my 15th year.
Congratulations.
And, I'm one of those low budget guys, you know what I mean? I'm still looking for a budget. But anyway, I've done about 600 episodes.
Wow.
And I have done some people that are amazing people. And I've had some on my show that had severe PTSD. And I found, with PTSD, a veteran will talk to a veteran.
Yes.
We have that bond. By the way, I am an Air Force veteran. We have that bond, and I've been able to communicate with them. And I've often told people at my age, after I came back, and PTSD used to be shell shock, and all that. I noticed with my uncle when I was a kid had a problem, but I was a kid. I didn't know anything. When I came back, I had several friends who had PTSD, but I didn't know what I know now about PTSD. You think this is going to help veterans bridge the gap, to reach out,
First off, thank you again. And I want to thank everyone who has willingly and knowingly risked their lives for my freedom to make this film and for everyone else. And that is from the sincerity of my heart. And you mentioned that you've noticed that veteran to veteran, those type of conversations seem to flow a lot more than veteran to civilian.
Yeah.
I found in this process, through working with over 20 different veterans on all different levels, from Vietnam veterans to veterans from Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan, special forces down to National Guardsmen, colonels and generals to privates and drill sergeants, enlisted and officers. It took a long time to earn each and every one of their respects. But once that happened, and once they truly realized that my heart here was to tell the most authentic, true story, and dedicate a level of authenticity versus what Hollywood does of use PTSD as a dramatic piece of a movie that is, dramatized and used to make a good movie.
Yeah, so that the individual doesn't seem realizing he has a problem.
Yes.
But
it's not a plot device. And to answer your question of being hopeful of this film bridging that gap, we shot the film, and the film was written in such a way with the level of research, the level of dedication and commitment of our team, in order to give civilians a little bit more of a taste than they've ever gotten before. It will never even come close.
Yeah, I find that is a real issue. I have, I don't want to name anybody's name or anything, but family, let's just say family and close friends. And you see, we do have a lot of lady veterans. They come home with it too.
Absolutely.
We also have, and the men have it. But to a veteran to a spouse, they may not understand. They need to get the help, and there's a lot of help from the VA out there. But you're right, there's a stigma about PTSD, and I'm hoping that people see this and see the guy won the fight, because I know some guys who are still going through it, and It's
That was one of the biggest challenges for me as an actor playing a guy with PTSD. Growing up around and in these special forces communities, the SEAL community, the Ranger community, there was a stigma that they were all these tough guys. They weren't the ones with PTSD. It was, for lack of a better term, it was those who were weaker minded.
Yeah.
And that's the furthest thing from the truth. PTSD is not just simply guilt because you pulled the trigger and you regret it, or a bomb went off. PTSD,
or your best friend died.
Or your best friend died. PTSD is so much more than that. PTSD is a chemical imbalance in your brain, fight or flight or freeze mode. Guilt is involved, love is involved, self-hate is involved, depression, anxiety, stress, training, what you're trained to respond without even thinking. There's so many different elements, and it can affect anyone and everyone who has served in any way, shape, or form. And I hope we really are able to portray that, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts after you see the film, because it's not just about Jackson, the main character. It's also about the community and how his wife, who never expected him, and who he promised to not be deployed when he joined the National Guard, she suffers from her own level.
That is a big part of it. When they go overseas, a veteran goes overseas and sees some things, or is involved in some things that they necessarily didn't want to be involved in, but that's life. And when they come home, the relationship with the spouse, they came home a changed person. And you have to learn and realize that there's a change, and sometimes it's tough.
It absolutely.
I hope this thing does well for you, because I can see you're sincere about what you're doing, and that's what it's all about, is to bridge the gap and get those people out there to look at that and say, you know what, maybe I should call the VA. Maybe I should do the Spartan Pledge, or a battle buddy. I need a battle buddy, somebody I can talk to.
We have on our website, lonesomesoldierthefilm.com, where you can get tickets and find a theater playing the film near you. But we have a page of resources. If you are struggling with prescription drug abuse, we have a rehab center that focuses on helping veterans go through rehab. We have a fly fishing organization that takes veterans fly fishing. We have an organization that connects veterans with service dogs. We have, I believe.
So you work with a lot of nonprofits, or are you a nonprofit?
We are not a nonprofit. We work with and partner with a lot of nonprofits in different areas. So if you want to find healing, or you want to be able to work on yourself and work through your PTSD through faith, we have a faith nonprofit. If you want to work on it through a retreat in the mountains, we have a nonprofit that holds a retreat. So we have all of these different resources available through our partners, because we're not just saying this, we mean it. We're donating 10% of our profit back to our nonprofit partners. We are donating additional financing to veterans that still are in the VA and in the real Jackson's unit who still need help. We are putting our money where our mouth is. We are dedicated and committed to telling true, authentic, character-driven stories of our nation's heroes, that are our servicemen and women and our veterans.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm also going to tell you to start watching Central Florida Salute YouTube, because I got a lot of veterans on there you'd be interested in.
I absolutely will.
But I guess it's coming out in a lot of theaters. I heard it's already out in some theaters.
Yeah, yes, sir. It released nationwide this past weekend. It's available this Veterans Day weekend in a theater near anybody. They can find that information on the website, and lonesomesoldierthefilm.com. And we are excited to be here in the Villages. This is not going to be our first, this is not going to be our only event here. It's just our first. We look forward. We're planning already to come back and do this again in a couple of weeks.
Good.
And we are just so grateful to be here, to be hosted here, and to help tell the story and be a part of the solution to one of our nation's biggest problems, where we don't honor nor do we take care of or provide the support needed.
Our friend Marie was instrumental in bringing you here from
Yes, she was.
Villagers for Veterans.
Villagers for Veterans.
And I understand today the program is, the movie's free.
Yes.
They ask for donations, which I don't see that be a big problem. But I'm hoping it'll be a big success for you, my friend. It's been a pleasure meeting you. I can see the sincerity, and that's what I like. Because you're one of those who kind of makes a difference, and those are my kind of people.
Hey, thank you, Airman Bob.
So,
Take two.
Take two. We're now inside the theater, getting ready for the movie to come on in about 10-15 minutes. And Catherine Wilgus, who's a combat veteran of Afghanistan and a dear friend of mine, has got a question. Actually, she has two questions.
Well, again, I want to thank you for coming out here and
Thank
doing
you.
this. My first question would be is when you were talking about the extensive family that you have in your military, and you yourself sounds like you're the only one who didn't join. That's not a bad thing. Everybody has to find their niche. But my question is, what does your family think of your desire to do this movie as your first mainstream?
They have been nothing but supportive. My grandfather, who is no longer with us, passed away. He passed away a few years ago. She has read every draft of the script as a military wife. My parents have been very actively involved. They were on set. My father was a military technical advisor to make sure we were accurate, my grandfather on the other side, who's a retired Air Force colonel, he was actively involved as an executive producer, and it is my way to use my gifts and talents to tell stories that matter and to honor the legacy of my family. And talking about how, your comment about being really the only one that hasn't served, portraying someone with PTSD, one has to, as an actor, find some sort of, connection. And fortunately or unfortunately, I still to this day feel a little bit of guilt that I did not rise up and answer that call, and I channeled that into the performance, and it was not in the cards at the time when I was younger. I wouldn't be doing anything else. I'm very blessed, while at the same time that thought in the back of my head is and always will be there, and fortunately I was able to channel that into hopefully what you're going to see on screen.
Well, that's a great answer. It's totally heartfelt, and I didn't mean to imply anything negative. But we all have a niche. We all have a purpose, and I believe that we cannot follow anybody but ourselves. And I think it's really neat that it's a family affair, because your family's names are going to be rolling up there as technical advisors. So they may not be in the movie in the front, but they're scrolling in the rear. So I think that's awesome. And you sort of answered, or you're leading into the second question that I have for you. I want to know why, since you're the producer and the director and everything, why did you choose to play him when you could have found somebody else?
That is a phenomenal question. My dream has always been to be an actor. I started acting very young, and I did everything else just so I could act. And in fact, even after having written over 60 scripts over the last 6 or 7 years in the film business, I hate writing. Little secret. I love telling stories. I love coming up with stories. But sitting down and actually writing out or typing out the words is not my favorite. There were many opportunities to what I call sell out, to many opportunities for more money, bigger scale, bigger paycheck, for a bigger actor. But I was handpicked by the real life mother and the real life Jackson.
Wow.
When I was 18 years old in acting school in New York City, and it was never an option for not just myself, But for every single person who worked on this movie in the last 7 years, not a single person batted an eye when those offers came up, because everyone somehow, by the grace of God, believed in me, and it's one of the most humbling and surreal experiences to be here now on the other end of it.
Yeah, on the tour. Now you get to see what everybody thinks, and I think that's awesome. I'm glad that Villagers for Veterans has connected with you to put this on. You may or may not know, but I'm the vice president of Villagers for Veterans.
I did not know that.
And so I look forward to you coming back and everything and learning more and seeing how you do in this film. And I thank you. It humbles me that we have, quote, civilians who want to tell our story in a light that's from within. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I thank you.
My pleasure.
Listen, I have a way of ending my shows. And a veteran salutes like this. A non-veteran salutes like that. Ready? To all our veterans out there, active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time.
Special Jackson Harlow. Welcome home.
So, Jackson, did you kill any dares over there?
It's over now. Just like it if everything went back to normal.
It's good to have you back, and you seem happy to be back.
It's okay, breathe.
The boy has problems.
He has PTSD. He just needs some time to heal.
Driving down the road doesn't go away. The bar doesn't go away. It just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop.
We're soldiers, Harlow. We keep fighting. The fight's not over. It's just different. Am I gonna be okay?